We're here today to talk about the IRS and how frightening they are. And we have someone with us today who's going to take the scary part out and let us know a little bit more about how to deal with the IRS. He's written a book called Stand Up to the IRS. You can get this on Amazon. It's full of all kinds of interesting and useful tips. But personally, I just as soon call Steve and let him handle it. So welcome, Steve.
Thank you.
And I think we're going to talk today about what happens and what should we do if we get one of those awesome letters from the IRS. I think the first thing I usually think is, I don't want to know what's in it. I'll just put it over here and not open it.
That would be a very bad choice.
Oh dear, tell me about it.
Well, I've used an analogy on here before, and I'll keep it up. If I have a little brown spot on my skin at my age, I'm not going to ignore it. I'm going to the doctor and say, what do we got to do? You need to take this thing off or what? I want you to think the same thing when you get the IRS letter. First thing I want you to do is sit down. Then I want you to take a deep breath. I want you to remind yourself that 80% of the IRS letters are benign. But that doesn't mean we ignore them. All right? So you've got yourself in a good frame of mind. Open the envelope and you read the letter. Now, quite often, you'll read it and be more confused than before you sat down. That's okay. Don't feel bad. Those letters are written by lawyers with the idea of confusing you. They won't admit to that, but that's true. So, what do? Well, you read it. If you don't understand it, you call me. I'll tell you what it says. But I'd like to touch on one in particular that has probably caused more excitement and frustration with my clients than any other. It's called the CP 2000. And it says up in the right-hand corner, CP 2000. This is a proposal. Let me say that again. This is a proposal. In the same way that when you put in a proposal for a job, you say, I will do this job for X number of dollars. That's a proposal. This is a proposal.
So it's not that just because it says I owe $5,000, doesn't mean that I owe $5,000.
What it means is, based on the information they have and the light that shines most favorably on them, you owe that $5,000. Okay. Well, once you've read that, well, wait a minute. That doesn't make sense because the CP 2000 is pretty detailed. It will say, you didn't report this, you didn't report that. Okay. So get back in your records, get a hold of your tax accountant, and find out what happened. Did you forget to report something? If you did, it doesn't mean you owe the full $5,000. For example, I had a client call me up one day. He could not have been much more upset. He couldn't have been much more upset. He said, the IRS says I owe them more than I make in a year. Okay, calm down. Got him breathing again. Said, okay, so bring me the letter. So he brought me the letter, and I read it. You had some cryptocurrency transactions? Yes. Did you pay anything for the crypto before you sold it? Yes. Do you have a statement? Yes. Good. So then we answer the CP 2000. We say, dear IRS, we did forget to report these transactions. However, here is the basis on the transaction. So actually, and I actually admitted his return. So actually what we owe is this number, which was considerably lower.
So they just took the income without the expense.
Right.
All right. But they didn't have it.
Actually, they did, but they just assume all proceeds are income. And so when you get a CP 2000, the thing to do, after you've read it, see if it makes any sense to you, then you need to start doing your research. You've got 30 days to respond, 30 days from the date on the letter. You can usually get all the information you need in 2. If it's a stock or some other document, pull out your tax record for you. See if something was missed. Call your brokerage. Have them reissue you the 1099-B. Once you've got all that, and if you need help, get help, then you're ready to write back to the IRS and tell them you disagree for these reasons. And of all the CP 2000s I've seen, I've never agreed with one of them.
Almost always wrong?
Yeah, pretty much. But by the same token, it's usually because the taxpayer has forgotten something. In the case of that one individual, that one client, he forgot that his cryptocurrency was taxable. First rule of taxation. Everything is taxable except for that which is specifically excluded.
What's excluded?
Well, at the federal level, loans are excluded.
Inheritance?
Inheritances are excluded up to $5 million currently. Who knows what's going to happen in a year? But, there are certain bits of income that are excluded. But they're specifically listed. The thing with cryptocurrency is that somebody got the idea when this first came out a few years ago that, well, because it's not real money, it's not taxable. The IRS said, wrong. It may not be real money, but we'll call it a collectible. It has value. To the IRS, it's not a matter of whether it's real money or not. Does it have value? If somebody gave you, in exchange for your services, gave you 3 bricks of gold, that's got value. It is therefore taxable. IRS gets wind of it, they're going to send you the CP2000. Now, I've got a little afield here, but that was intentional. The idea being, read the letter. If you don't understand it, or you don't know how to deal with it, you get a pro involved. We take care of it. I'm not going to make the tax go away, but I'm going to reduce it down to the lowest number possible. In other words, you're going to pay the tax you owe, and only the tax you owe.
Not what they say you owe. Okay. And besides the fact that we may have left something out, what are some other reasons why it would be wrong?
Why the CP2000 would be wrong?
Yeah.
Identity theft. You get the CP2000 says you had stock in IBM and Ford and Chevy. You sold it all. You didn't report it. You now owe us $500,000 in tax. And you say, wait a minute. I've never owned stock in Ford or Chevy or IBM. Then we have a different problem. There's a form we need to fill out. We answer the CP2000. We also alert the federal government that you're the victim of identity theft, and we take other steps. For example, you lock down your credit. And that happens. It happens every day. Your Social Security number is on the dark web. I don't care how careful you are, it's there. And if somebody can slip in, buy that number from whoever's got it, under the right circumstances, they can steal your identity. And if they do that, well, you've got a different problem. But the IRS will maybe your tip-off. So when you get that CP2000, I never owned stock in IBM.
So now we really need to figure out what's going on.
Well, what we need to do, we're going to answer the letter, and we're also going to fill out the form, and I don't bother with form numbers, I can look them up, that says, hey, government, I'm an identity theft victim. What that's going to mean is you're going to get a special PIN, file your returns every year, a new PIN every year, until it's resolved. I can foresee a day, not too far down the road, where everyone will have to have IP PINs anyway. But that's not here yet. So when you get the letter, you read it. And then you talk to the people who can help you understand it, solve the problem that generated the letter.
And if you get the letter, like I did recently, it said I don't even remember what the amount was. It was, $30 or something like that.
Okay.
You just pay it. And
yeah,
$30.
Look, if you call me and say, I've got these letters from the IRS, I'm going to charge you $1,500 to do an analysis.
I'd much rather pay $30.
Yeah, exactly. If you get a letter saying that you owe the IRS $500, who are you going to pay? $1,500 to me, and then probably some part of $500 to them, or just pay the $500. And that is what I would tell you if you came in my office. I've actually had someone come in, hand me a letter. He hadn't opened it. His hands are shaking like he's got Parkinson's. I got permission to open his mail, open it up. I asked him, you have $150 in the bank? Yeah? Pay your tax bill. Go have a nice day. And no, I didn't charge him $1,500. That would have been unreasonable enough. Read the letter. Then decide what you want to do with it. I would tell you, if the debt doesn't have a comma in it, it's probably not worth really fighting.
So they're not always wrong.
No, they're not always wrong. Even a blind squirrel can find an acorn at a time.
Well, I'm sure they'd be glad to know that they're blind squirrels.
So it really comes down to a trade-off. And we have those every day in life. You hire a workman to do work, they do a terrible job. You can take them to court, spend a whole lot of money, and not get anything back, or you can just write it off. You get an IRS letter that says you owe $250. You can hire me to tell you, yeah, you owe $250, or you owe $175. Pay me $1,500.
But if I owe $25,000,
now that's a whole different horse.
then
Now we're talking serious money. Yeah, if it's over, say, $5,000, yeah, you definitely want to get somebody involved. Because unless you sign your name Trump, this is probably a big deal to you. Now, if you sign your name Rockefeller or Trump or any other billionaire, it's a rounding error. You don't care. But for most us normal people, yeah, $5,000's a fair amount of money. We need to figure it out.
okay, that makes a lot of sense, Steve. And I guess the number one rule is open the letter. And then you can decide what you need to do.
That's it. Make all decisions from the best basis you can. And making a decision about a sealed IRS letter is not the best basis.
Okay, well, I did open the letter and I did pay the money. And so if it happens again, I'll do the same thing.
All right.
So remember that Steve's book, Stand Up to the IRS, is available on Amazon. And tell them how they can get in touch with you.
Yes. My company is Books, Taxes, and More. Our website, bookstaxesatl.com. I can be reached directly, steve@bookstaxesatl.com. If you have any questions of a general nature or comments, put them in the comment section below. I will get back to you once I've gotten the information from you, and see if there's an issue there. But please, do not put specific information. Do not put your social security number in there. Do not put your driver's license, your full name, or your address. This is a very public forum. Reach out to me and we can talk about that detail one-on-one. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Steve.
Thank you.
I'm Lorraine Harrison with About Marketing. And remember, this is a series of videos to help educate you on how to deal with the IRS. So I hope you will continue to watch and pay attention because there's a number of chapters to this. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. If you found this information helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and share this video. And make sure to subscribe for more great tax tips and strategies from Steve Perry and Books, Taxes, and More. Visit our website at bookstaxesatl.com for more resources. See you in the next video.